Angry Ecologist here. As usual, I keep compiling lots of footage that I don't end up... Oh, man. Really? You're going to force me to go vertical? Oh, well, we'll go vertical. So I'm at another spot that I haven't come and checked out yet, post goat grazing. And like all the other stuff, I'm not going to get around to editing it. But let me share this with you. And you're just going to have to deal with the noise pollution of all the neglected prisoners that are here and the people chopping up trees. But it's the same story in each of the locations. The natives have been basically annihilated. The fire fuel and the weeds are still here, and there's a wonderful blanket of poop everywhere. But there are some really interesting aspects of this spot back here that I want to share. So I was just trying to enjoy a jog, came across more devastating damage. Somebody who thinks that the goat damage wasn't damaging enough working back there. I mean, this just generally speaking does not look good. What kind of a bird do we have here? Hello. The trash remains. Trash is never much of a concern or a priority. You can see the rate that the next generation of these grasses is growing. We've had it's been maybe 3 weeks since the first rain. We got the goat poop all over the place, and the goat poop plant, the broadleaf fillery. It's actually quite fitting that this guy's butchering whatever he's butchering, but we'll get to that in a second. Look at this ugly, barren landscape here. So although this doesn't belong to the people with their precious yards, they will go out of their way to apply herbicides and have it mowed and whatever. But this right here is what the goats do. This is the damage that the goats do to any of the neighboring natives, and yet the problem itself remains. Not only does the old problem remain, and I know I'm being redundant, but I'm saying it again because it's every single location that I document this taking place at. And there's all the goat poop, and there's the old fire fuel, and there's the next generation of the exact same plant growing right there. And the reason that I stopped at this fence line of private property is you'll hear the justification that you've got to reduce the total amount of biofuel. So therefore, we kill native habitat that the animals need. But right here, it's perfectly acceptable for people to have biofuel that isn't even native and is here just because it makes them feel good to have it as a decoration in their yard. And look, I'm not ripping on the enjoyment of a yard. I'm ripping on the hypocrisy of saying, oh yeah, feed nature to the goats because of biofuel that's sort of near my house, but let me continue to plant plants for no better reason than the fact that I happen to think that that's a cool choice. Now, some of you might be saying, oh, nobody's worried about the green plants out there. Oh, well, then why are you feeding them to the goats? I mean, when up here, it's when you need them the most. It's when the wildlife need them the most during the heat that the goats come through and eat the foliage and destroy the shade. Down south, they're feeding the new growth to the goats and allowed the fire season to go without vegetation management. Look at all this. This is just in the weeks since the goats left. All of this is already back. What a lovely yard you have. This is what humans do, the concrete worshipers. biofuel, 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 but that's okay, of course, because the humans have chosen to have it there. But please, by all means, go and feed the native habitat to the goats. Now, this guy isn't even satisfied with what the goats did. He's out here with his gas-powered machine, further weed whacking, which really is quite the demonstration of how badly even the perception of whatever benefits the goats were supposed to have provided does. Obviously, he thinks that the goats didn't do a good enough job. He also thinks it's his duty to go outside of his property line and manage things the way that he wants to. But as long as we're out here, let me show you this absolutely absurd irrigation system of trees that are native and drought resistant. And they wanted to blow so much money on this stupidity that they even wind it in and out. Usually, if you've tuned into my channel, you've seen me filming way over there. And don't let me stop or go past all the destruction that the goats left behind. That used to be healthy living habitat, except of course where they protected the trees planted by the humans. You can kill the naturally occurring natives, but protect these. Look at this. Look at this hose line put in. They're watering trees during the winter rains that don't want to be watered. That's where our resources are being spent. I've counted out here, they have a 50% mortality rate because of the incompetence of the people who are watering trees that don't want to be watered. Now I'm going on to another topic. What I wanted to show you was the absolutely epic failure of the goats in this area that I haven't gotten to recently. But let me jog and speed up, because there's another spot over here to show you. You see the tree line, that's our guide. This is your guide to understand where the goats grazed. And this, when I filmed before the goats came, was covered in leaves and the birds were hiding in here. And now this is what the goats have done to it. Over here, you got the weeds growing on the other side, sediment-filled, poop-filled creek, eroding creek bed, and the problem still remains. You know what's funny? The video I didn't put out showed the creek bed filled with the chopped up invasive plants and their seeds. That was before the creek filled up, which means that now, thanks to the spreading of the problem via the goats, now the rains have helped the goats accidentally spread these weeds even further. That's it.